Hello, you guys. Happy Monday. Good morning to everyone on our chat. Thank you for joining us on another episode of No More Kids in Scientology. Hello, Beyond Jehovah's Witness. Good to see you, Heather in the library. Willeke Hillebrand. What's up from Netherlands? What's up, Lauren? Hi, Soul. Psyche Labs. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Today, we are going to be revisiting an incomplete cycle of action. Isn't that great, you guys, that we can use our little Scientology words in present time? There's another Scientology word for you guys. Incomplete cycle of action, which was reacting to the complete and utter train wreck interview by Prince Andrew, by Mike Rinder, given to him not by the BBC this time. The BBC is the ones that interviewed Prince Andrew. And this time Mike Rinder wasn't able to secure the BBC, but he did secure Jon Attack. So we still have the English flair, but not so much the English wit, because I don't know if you guys saw this new film on Netflix about how that interview was conducted. And that journalist that actually, So yeah, this interview was given, and the reason that it matters, Mike Rinder, is because there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and we are allowed to react based on our own opinion, based on our own seat at the table that we did have for ourselves inside of disgusting hotels that you and the rest of the executives ensnared us in. So don't take it personal, because you've been the face of so-called really want to whistle blow about this and whistle blow about that. So we are allowed to ask you these questions, Mike Rinder. So let's just literally react to this and see what in the literal hell is going on, you guys. Happy Monday, everybody. So if you haven't seen my last two videos, we reacted to those. They're not alive. They were just released as videos. They're my last two videos that I posted. So you could check it out if you want to see the beginning of this interview. But I just thought, what the hell? Let's just all react together and analyze what's going on here and what is it going to take to get a shred of justice for children that have been ensnared and trafficked inside of Scientology hotels and commercial buildings for the last 74 years. You guys, let's not forget the volcano poop emoji book came out back in the 50s. So they've been at it for a while.
If you have a situation with regard to Scientology, and perhaps something can come together under her direction with her help to show who did what and when, because we would like to see that. We'd like to see anybody who is culpable, anybody who is guilty, who is justice. But the only other case.
Who did what and when is exactly what we would love to literally know, Jon Attack. That would be really great to fully understand also for ourselves. Who did what when? Who knew what, when, and where? Since all of those answers are literally found inside of Scientology files that you all would know all about, since you were so pressed to keep files, written files about everything. So who, what, when, and where is the problem that all Scientology parents and Scientology executives have, given that none of them have a shred of plausible deniability, because none of them can claim that they didn't know, because they were documenting it, video recording it, and transcribing it. So I love how this platitude about we really want to find the who, what, when of when something happened in there, when that's what they were doing with the technology of convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard. That's what they gave themselves a license to do, to find out the who, what, when, and where of, including but not limited to, criminal acts, self-admitted criminal acts that they were allowed to launder inside of those hotels.
Case in which she has brought up your name is that of Carmen Reiner. Carmen went on TV with Steve Kinane, the excellent journalist and excellent human being, frankly, Steve Kinane, who wrote the book Fair Game, which is a brilliant analysis of the bizarre history of Scientology in Australia. I helped Steve with that book.
I mean, the body language of Mike Rinder laughing it up. Like, what is literally so funny to you, Mike Rinder? What is so funny about bringing up a so-called amazing, wonderful book written by an amazing, wonderful investigative journalist that wrote all about fair game, right? All about fair game. Adults having problems with adults is all we ever get by this stupid corporate media that doesn't have a shred of clue how to run an investigation. They don't know how to pull a string. They don't know what is altered importance and what is not. They just go with, oh, well, I've been told that they do fair game. Let me really write a whole book about it. Once upon a time, adults were having trouble with adults. Let's really all talk about that ad nauseum for the last 74 years, as if that's not the most regurgitated talking point in terms of what Scientology is. Scientology is audits, courses, ethics handlings. Whatever this fair game is, that's not what Scientology is. So yes, if fair game was literally being run by Mike Rinder in his OSA office, well, great, hip, hip, hooray. What in the hell does anyone care about that when there's children being exposed to disgusting, unthinkable role plays with adults inside of a hotel? You tell me what's more important to report on. So literally. And why are you laughing? What's so funny about this, Mike Rinder?
And at that time, I was very much in the shadows. I did not want to be attacked again by Scientology. So I was talking to authors, and I was talking to anybody who had a case involving children. But from 1996 to 2013, those were the only things I did. And I never charged money to help people who'd been harmed by the group. That's been largely the case. I've told about 600 people in their recovery, and three of those people made any financial contribution to me. I think the most was £100, which is like $120 or something. So,
I mean, again, you guys, like, oh wow, Jon Attack. Wow. So you did this all for no money, and you were what, taking cases of kids being abused in Scientology? So it turns out that you do have a clue about what type of cases and cover-ups do happen in Scientology, because apparently you were just doing that also pro bono. Isn't that great that you're just doing it all pro bono and you didn't charge more than 120 pounds? I mean, what in the literal hell?
but through that period, I was still talking to people, and Steve came over from Australia and interviewed me, and he said, will you please talk to Carmen Reiner? I said, I really don't do that kind of thing anymore. It's exhausting. And he told me about this woman who was abused from the age of 6 or 7 until she was 11 by her stepfather, who was a Scientologist.
Sorry, you guys. I don't know what this echo thing is going on. Thank you, Marina. I appreciate it. Sorry. You guys, sorry. Hold on. I think I fixed it though.
My mother was Scientologist too. And
that's fine, right?
At the age of 11, one of her friend's mothers realised what was happening and urged her to go to the police. And she went to the police and made a report.
Is that fine now, you guys? Please let me know in the chat. It's doing what Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you.
That report was with.
Oh, still an echo? No, still echo. Hold on, let's see. Okay, you tell me, you guys. Is this still echoing?
Drawn on the insistence of Jan Eastgate, who was the head of a group called the Citizens Commission on Human Rights.
So is that okay now? Still echo. Well, all right, you guys. Well, we're gonna get to that for 1 second, but still, before we continue with this video, which we're gonna figure it out, why in the hell is still echoing? But Jan Eastgate, okay? This is Jan Eastgate, and this is what they're just about to reference here, which I think it went. Yeah, I get that. Thank you, guys. Let's bring up this actual article now. Luckily, we do have an article to review, so we don't have to waste our time with the echo. I'll fix it for sure, you guys. So here is this article from The Guardian. And boop, 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 boop. Here's this article from The Guardian. Scientologist coached a child to lie about SA. So here's the first point that we're going to be reviewing here in terms of who Jan Eastgate actually is, you guys. Because that is the person that is being referred to here by Jon Attack. Jan Eastgate to appear in Australian court charged with perverting course of justice after complaint to police. So again, now this article is 12 years old. Imagine how much time is already gone by. A senior member of the Church of Scientology is due to appear in court in Australia on Thursday, charged with perverting the course of justice. It is alleged that Jan Eastgate, 57, threatened and intimidated an 11-year-old girl into providing false statements to police. The case relates to an investigation into the alleged sexual assault of the girl in 1985 by her stepfather, a Scientology member. The girl, who cannot be named for legal reasons, said on Australian television last year that she was coached by Eastgate to lie to police and community services. She said Eastgate told her to deny any charges of SA. Are you guys having echo problems with my mic or the video, you guys? All right, let's see. Let me check my audio. The video. Okay. My audio's fine. Okay, good. All right. So the girl's mother made similar allegations against Eastgate. Both mother and daughter were members of Scientology at the time. Eastgate is the international president of the Citizens Commission of Human Rights, a body founded by Scientology that campaigns against psychiatry and has been awarded the church's Freedom Medal for promoting human rights. She's an Australian, but she lives in Los Angeles. Eastgate has previously called the allegations against her egregiously false. Scrutiny of Scientology in Australia has been led by an independent senator, Nick Xenophon, a member of the Parliament's upper house. Xenophon has called for a judicial inquiry into the practices of Scientology. The widespread allegations of abuse and criminality are incredibly serious and warrant serious and immediate investigations, he said. Too many victims of Scientology have spoken out for this issue to be ignored any longer. A judicial inquiry would not simply identify any wrongdoing. It would also be able to look into whether that wrongdoing was systemic and organized. Bing, 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 bing. Systemic and organized, you guys. What do you think Scientology is but systemic and organized? They're running on a technology. They're following a 1, 2, 3 step over and over ad nauseum. No one inside of these hotels has a shred of critical thinking skills. They're all drones and robots applying the rhetoric of a convicted felon to the letter. Let's not forget, the rhetoric has to be done exactly. So again, this woman who was literally accused of, what was it? Oh yeah, coaching a child to lie about SA. This is a child that, for whatever reason, ended up at the police. So just let that sink in for a second. In what world is Scientology and Mike Rinder and Debbie Cook and Angie Blankenship and Richard Reese and all of these cover-uppers of crimes against children that have not a shred of child ever ending up at the police? Except for, once upon a blue moon, like this one here did end up at the police and did end up getting what? Coached to lie. Coached to lie to the police. An 11-year-old coached to lie to the police. I mean, again, you guys, we thought as children, this is what we were told inside of the hotel, that if the police ever got involved with anything, it could destroy the hope of humanity at large. The entire universe is doomed, because then the police would be able to come into the hotels and would be able to criminally charge them for the crime. And then the technology of L. Ron Hubbard would, oh my God, disappear. And there's nothing more tragic than what? The technology of L. Ron Hubbard disappearing. Like, as 11-year-olds that we were, as sick as it sounds, as disgusting as it sounds, we would be essayed and take it. And we would think that there's nothing wrong, like we can just go into a session and float it. What type of floating took place, Mike Rinder, inside of those sessions? With a straight face, answer that. With a literal straight face, answer what type of floating of a felony happens with that wonderful technology of your daddy figure, L. Ron Hubbard. Convicted felon that he was. And you knew he was a convicted felon on the run. Imagine being you, Mike Rinder, that knew L. Ron Hubbard was a convicted felon, that he was on the run from the feds. And, you thought, what a great idea. Let's bring him out of his grave and let's beg the IRS to really help us save our world. But yes, the widespread allegations of abuse and criminality are incredibly serious, warrant serious and immediate investigation. Never mind that the investigation was derailed. So this so-called investigation that was going to really happen back in 2012, 12 years ago, whenever this article was written, 12 years ago. And you guys, there's more children being victimized because no one has done a shred of heavy lifting. Nobody. Too many victims of Scientology have spoken out of this issue cannot be ignored any longer. A judicial inquiry would not simply identify any wrongdoing. It would be able to look into whether the wrongdoing was systemic and organized. And yes, it was. It was systemic and organized, so much so that any and all child that was essayed inside of the Scientology hotels and commercial buildings was not only fully known about, it was also fully recorded. It was also fully written out. There was contemporaneous notes taken of the exact instant and second these persons became owners of the data that they were mining out of children. To do what? To crisis manage. To do what? To, coach. Let's really coach you. Come for a drill. Let's coach you. It's sick. It's so sick to literally see this, because you know what, you guys, this has been so many years. I had heard about this happening when I was in Scientology. We heard about Jan Eastgate. She was the commissioners of human rights. Of course, they were telling us like, oh, they're up to get us. They've arrested her without cause. Like that's what they were pitching inside of the hotel. But nobody really knew what in the hell anybody was talking about, but we had already heard about Jan Eastgate. It was a big flap that she was being arrested. Xenophone accompanied the girl at the center of the allegations to the police station when she made her complaint against Eastgate. Scientology did not respond to a request for comment on the case. So let's make sure that we really understand what in the hell we are literally talking about, guys, because this is what we are talking about. So there's this article, and then there's this other article with none other than Tony Ortega, actually. So when he was writing for The Village Voice, which is going to literally contradict something that's going to come up here, you guys. The Village Voice. Well, there's actually this, which is shocking because, again, the perversion of justice seems to follow these people wherever they go. They somehow have nothing to really ever pay for. So here's on April 24th, 2012, charges dropped against Scientology executive Jan Eastgate. So after the jump, Australian Senator Nick Xenophone's statement about his development, and attorney Grain O'Donovan helps us understand Australian law on this matter. Stunning news out of Australia. The public prosecutor in New South Wales has suddenly dropped serious felony charges against Jan Eastgate and apparently has no plans to pursue further allegations that she had coached an 11-year-old girl to lie about being essayed. I've always maintained my innocence, Eastgate told Australia's Daily Telegraph after the news broke. After the jump, we have a report from Today Tonight's Brian Seymour. From Seymour, Eastgate was due to face committal hearing in Sydney next month, followed by a trial in June. The president of CCHR, a front group that agitates against psychiatry, Eastgate, real name Janice Wendis Eastgate Mayer, was last May charged with 2 counts of perverting the course of justice. The charges relate to an incident involving a then 11-year-old named Carmen Rayner. She told her mother that she had been essayed by her stepfather. As the family were Scientologists, they sought help at the org in Sydney as the family were Scientologists. So do you guys see the pattern here? Where did the victims of Danny Masterson go after they get essayed? We only had one place to go if we were essayed. And don't forget, The most disgusting thing is, as a victim of SA, you would be told that you had something to do with it. So imagine that as victims of SA, it was double scary. Not only had we been violated, not only had we been SA'd, not only had we been abused, but now it was our fault. So let that sink into how these people treat underage kids. Right, Mike Rinder? This is very great technology, the one that L. Ron Hubbard developed for you and your disgusting cohorts to go around abusing children with full impunity. It's called You All Knew. It's called You All Were Recording It, watching the videos, calling for the videos to be sent to you so you could be watching them in an office. As if Richard Reese wasn't masturbating to the videos. Because that's the other thing, you guys. That's what's so sick about these people. Like, not only were they literally recording disgusting things being said, but then, yes, the case supervisors would be all of the time talking about, oh my God, I was jerking off to a video. So let that sink in. These grown-ass men are sitting there jerking off to videos of minors being interrogated inside hotel rooms, being asked disgusting questions, including talking about their essay, including getting that essay blamed back on the child. Well, let's look at another lifetime, because you know what? Maybe you essayed someone else too, and that's why your stepfather just did it to you now. There they allege Eastgate told the little girl not to tell the police what happened and that her and her brother would be taken away by social services. They further allege that Eastgate told Carmen's mother, Phoebe, to also deny the abuse to the police and to the Department of Community Services. The alleged reason for this was to avoid bad publicity for Scientology. Bad publicity for Scientology. So let that statement sink in. Bad publicity. And if we can fix this echo, you guys, we're going to see it. Otherwise, you guys are going to have to come back for part 2. But bad publicity. You're about to see that literal Jon Attack asked Rinder if he had been involved or knew anything about this cycle with this minor and Jan Eastgate getting arrested. I mean, the arrest, I think, happened after Rinder had left, but this incident happened way before. Carmen's stepfather, 99, turned himself and admitted he had indecently assaulted Carmen between ages of 7 and 11. So you deny that you had any idea that any of this happened, Mike Rinder. You were just so looped out and clueless. Well, imagine that. Who was handling publicity? Because that's what you were pitching. Oh, I was a publicist too. I was handling the PR and I was in OSA and you were a publicist. Well, either way, Mike Rinder, you would have had to know. You were a crisis manager consultant. What else is it that you do, Mike Rinder? What else is it that you did inside of that disgusting hotel? Prop up L. Ron Hubbard's image, set up a museum for him, run his office of disgusting, illegal, highly illegal activities, overseeing all of that for decades, covering up essaying of minors who, yes, you would have known all about. You would have known all about it because what? You were at the very top of the pyramid scheme. All the info flew outwards, upwards like this, you guys. Shh. These reports being written down here by peons like myself who were used as minors to data mine the self-admitted felonies out of the adults paying for it. paying to tell the minor what they did. Time, place, form, and event. Their Fifth Amendment right is out the literal window. They were incriminating and paying, and the IRS was hooking them up. Did you commit a felony for which you were not arrested for? Oh yeah, 3 weeks ago, I committed a felony against my child, underage that she was, 7-year-old that she was. But tell me my needle is floating so I can get out of here. Because don't we have a great technology that just floats it? What type of floating of a felony takes place, Mike Literal Rinder? How does a felony float? Because you know what? As a child there stuck at the hotels, I thought they floated. Imagine that. Imagine that I would have been so stupid to have thought that stupidity. Imagine that none of that is being repudiated or called out on the literal public record. Why not? Because it's always altered importance is all we ever get. You guys, it's always like, oh, fair gaming. Let's really talk about it ad nauseum. Adults having problems with adults inside a hotel is all the adults want to speak about and take any responsibility for. Oh, I was abused. Oh, I gave them $1 million. Oh, I just checked my bank account. I'm down $1 million, you guys, because I gave them $1 million. So you gave them $1 million to child traffic kids and now you're pressed because you're out of $1 million? How about, why did you give $1 million to child traffickers? How about that? But no, we never get that type of accountability from any of these Scientology parents or executives because you know what? They don't want to be wrong about anything. They want to be right. They want to be told they're right. They want to be cradled and canoodled like little babies, even though they were doing the abuse. They were stealing childhoods willy-nilly with full impunity. Seymour goes on to say, today, 11 months after Eastgate was arrested and charged, the public prosecutor of New South Wales dropped the charges. Incredibly, I've learned the reason for this is that the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions supposedly did not realize that the charges were not in existence at the time the alleged offense occurred in 1985. I spoke today with Carmen Rayner, who said she was given the impression that the authorities had no plans to find the right charge for the alleged offenses, and they plan to simply drop the whole matter and forget about it. I'm waiting for a public prosecutor, Lindy Coyle, to call me or email me her reasons. Isn't that great, you guys? How all the Scientology kids' cases get botched, butchered, and told better luck next lifetime. They'll find any type of technicality these MFers can come up with to, better luck next lifetime. Never mind that these cases are the only way children inside of these disgusting hotels can get a shred of help. But these prosecutors couldn't give a fuck. Just literally could not give a shred of a literal F, like we always say. Oh, better luck next lifetime. I didn't realize that the technicality was here and the technicality was there and the technicality was everywhere. Why does Scientology always get off on BS technicalities? Why, Australia? Australia, a corrupt, disgusting country. Australia that literally brought us Scientology. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you guys, these are the first MFers that figured out how to, this is a church. Yeah, give them exemption. Oh, yeah, church. Everyone's a church here. Everyone's a church in Australia, right? Australian people. L. Ron Hubbard got where his first validation that they were real church-like in Australia. Who set the legal precedent for these traffickers to literally set up shop everywhere else in the world? Australia. Not United States. The idiots at the IRS were, still being owed $1 billion mind you. By the time Australia decided, oh yeah, this is very religious activity, very protected, come and abuse children and get away with it. Who literally cares? In Australia, they only have platitudes for laws, just like in America. They write the laws, very illegal to do this, very illegal to do that, and then just, okay, no one's going to enforce it. Do whatever it is that you want to do in our country. Get away with it. We'll find technicalities, don't you worry. An 11-year-old girl was told and coached to lie. Because yes, the calculation was the PR, the public relations. What are people going to say? What are people going to think? Imagine that the PR problem that they have today is the fact that they have derailed, that they have perverted the justice for all kids. That's what this woman was literally being prosecuted for. And then the Office of the Prosecutors found, BS reasons to, never mind. You're not really, she wasn't charged at the time of 85, so she couldn't have perverted justice then because it wasn't charged then. Did you not get the part where the Scientology father went and told them everything he did? Time, place, form, and event in an ethics interview. I'm not auditing you, so your bullshit penitent priest, but it's bullshit. So people did it as an ethics cycle. You're not getting any privilege to not know, because then they can't charge you the money. They cannot make money on that felony, because then they just have to forgive it. Scientology makes more money when it's not privileged, because then they can sell you an ethics program, sell you a this, sell you all manner of more things. So even this BS about, they're very church-like and priest penitent, whatever, is complete and utter BS. So imagine that. So yeah, so the fact remains, the Daily Telegraph in Sydney included a statement from Eastgate about always maintain my innocence, Miss Eastgate said. She has worked overseas since 1993. This outcome means I can concentrate on my work to assist people in need of both in Australia and overseas through the Citizens Commission of Human Rights, a group that investigates psychiatric pharmaceutical conflicts of interest and human rights abuse. Do you see how pathetic they are, you guys? Psychiatric pharmaceutical conflict of interest. Give me a break. They didn't give an F about conflicts of interest. They were only interested in demonizing mandated reporters, that no child could have a shred of mandated reporter around them, because psychiatry, demonized. Psychologist, demonized. Therapist, demonized. Teachers, demonized. Doctors, demonized. Police, demonized. So who in the hell is supposed to help these children inside of the Scientology hotels? Mike Rinder, who is helping them? This matter was withdrawn because there was no reasonable prospect of conviction of any charge. The ODPP will not make any further comment. No reasonable prospect of conviction of any charge. Again, you guys, as if the problem that Scientology kids face is not literal legal malfeasance in the first place. It's these laws, it's these courts all over Australia or America that are upholding with a straight face the fact that go ahead, abuse kids, Go ahead, cover it up. Go ahead, monetize it. Go ahead, transcribe it. Go ahead, video record it. Go ahead and have all the criminal info for yourself. No conviction can be ever proven. It's a bunch of platitude BSs. The fact remains that all allegations have not been tested in court. Right, because that's all we ever get. Nothing can get tested in court because everything gets derailed before it could ever be heard by a shred of court. So is it by accident or by design? This is not an outcome. This is not a court decision. It's a complete withdrawal from the case by the DPP. As it stands now, we have Jan Eastgate against the word of Carmen Rinder, her mother Phoebe, and former Scientologist Carmel Underwood, who claimed to have witnessed Eastgate coaching Carmen to lie to the police. I mean, imagine you have all this corroborating people, somebody who watched her literally doing the coaching. You guys, we were coached. It's called you getting a handling. It's called they're applying Scientology on you. This is what they do. Breaking news. This is what they literally do. This is what the book said from L. Ron Hubbard. Apply a technology, apply an ethics condition on it. Decide who your friends are, and then based on that decision, decide if you're going to go to the police and report the criminal act, or they're going to soft sell your dad. Well, you know what? Your dad could get technology applied to him that is really going to float it. So why involve the police when you have the technology of a convicted felon, L. Ron Hubbard, to apply to a self-admitted felon? Because again, let that sink in. Carmen's dad, much like Miriam's dad, they told on themselves. These literal predators would tell on themselves. The problem is the other executive predators, including but not limited to Mike Rinder, Angie Blankenship, Debbie Cook, Karen Thompson, Ann Glushakow, Heather Hoff. All of those people would just be more people that would be finding all of this information, having to do everything with literally the kids getting abused and it all getting covered up. That's the problem, you guys. Carmen Rinder was raised in Scientology family. Between 8 and 11, she was abused by stepfather Robert Alexander Kerr. In allegations first attained on Late Line, Carmen Rinder said the prominent Scientologist Eastgate told her to lie to the police community service workers about the essay. Carmen Rinder, former Scientologist, May 2010. Just say no. She kept repeating that. Just remember, you can't tell them. Don't say yes, because otherwise you will be taken away from your parents and you will never see your family again. I mean, yes, you guys, God forbid you ended up at a psychiatrist. That's what they're going to want to do to you. Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, yeah. And on the outside, they're going to put you in a psychiatrist office because, you know, now that you are a literal RAPE victim. I mean, imagine again that you didn't even consider yourself a victim. As a child, you were groomed to think you were a perpetrator too. It was a 50-50 blame inside of those hotels. There was nothing done to help the child. There was nothing done to rehabilitate anything. They were just hell-bent on ensuring that that child knew that they did something for that to have happened to them. So, oh yeah, but we wouldn't be able to find anything, says the idiot prosecutors in Australia. Carmen Rinder's allegations were backed by her mother, Phoebe Rinder, former Scientologist. She came with us to the interview. She basically told me what to say and Carmen and what to say. And she told Carmen to lie to the police. And I lied to the police as well because of that. And I mean, again, you guys, to see a Scientology parent to be so, I mean, it's infuriating. It's infuriating that that these parents were outsourcing their power to degenerates that had not their best interest of their child. And imagine that, just like that, our parents didn't have the best interest of us either. And it's a tragedy. It's a full-blown tragedy for children to end up part of a hotel culture where they're getting abused and it gets covered up, where they're getting abused and it gets all recorded, transcribed, found out about, send reports, type, ask them more questions, ask them where else they did it. I mean, all of these men that were self-admitted to themselves, like, don't think they had a walk in the park. They had lengthy, hundreds of hours of interrogation. The more they suspected them, the more they wanted to find out, the more they wanted to, let's pull the string, find out more, let's write more questions, let's write tailor-made ones, let's really take all this data and then let's write very specific ones that apply to just that one perpetrator. Tailor-made questions. So let that fully sink in. So that is tailor-made. The questions are tailored. Oh, this guy was into 7-year-olds. Have you ever done anything else to another 7-year-old? And they would be on that question ad nauseum until it floats. Everything floats. Once it floats, then no worries. No one has to think about anything anymore. Jan Eastgate, international head of Citizens Commission of Human Rights, is organized by Scientology to campaign against psychiatry. Jan Eastgate has refused to talk to Late Line. She has consistently denied Carmen Rain's allegations, describing them as egregiously false. I mean, again, you guys, like, these people get to lock children in a room, data mine them ad nauseum. Like, before this woman was telling her that it didn't happen, she was telling her, what did you do? How did you do it? When did it happen? How were you involved in that? So again, because trauma victims are so sorry, so abused, like, you don't even know what in the hell they're talking about. I mean, imagine that you don't even have the right words to describe your experience. Because remember, even as a child, you get told it's out to D. Oh, your dad went out to D with you? Out to D. What the hell does out to D mean? Out to D. Out, the number 2, the letter D. It's the euphemism that they literally hand select to categorize everything in the realm of SA, from the most little to the most extreme, as this generic term. Oh, out to D, let's grab you, let's interrogate you, let's have you float your needle. Oh, everything's great, everything's wonderful. Technology of L. Ron Hubbard in full-blown use. So, in what world are people inside of a hotel with a 2-week course floating self-admitted felonies? Why do we even need attorneys? That's a question for all sitting judges of this United States, of all sitting judges of disgusting country, Australia. Why do we even need lawyers? If people could literally, if you've committed a felony, go to a Scientology organization. They will launder it for you. Why pay an attorney when you can just have it floated inside of a hotel? Why? Just skip court altogether. Just go straight to the Scientology Celebrity Center Hotel, the Sandcastle Hotel, the Fort Harrison Hotel, or any of their other places. If you committed a felony, you don't need a lawyer. You need an auditor that can float it. I mean, why go to the court when you can just go tell them inside of a hotel what you did, and they will just have it all covered up? And you'll get a tax write-off on it, on top of it. If you're a U.S. citizen, call American Express. Oh, hi, American Express. I'm about to charge $100,000 on my Amex. Yes, American Express. So when we're talking about the trafficking being supported by American Express, it's supported by American Literal Express. Who do you think they charge all these cards on? Who's paying the $100,000? How are those $100,000 arriving inside of these hotels? They're merchants. What are these merchants doing? What are you doing, American Express? What type of due diligence are you running before you just, give these people the ability to, just charge $100,000. No, you just want to donate? Okay, cool. Yes, makes a lot of sense. Well, imagine that all the Amex idiotic executives that thought, we thought we were saving a world. That's what they told us they're doing in there. Well, you know what? Now you know different. So the plot thickens with all manner of false, illegal incentives that are A-okay, because apparently in this country, write a few platitudes on a piece of paper and everything is great. Everything's wonderful. Look, it's said in the law that we really do want to follow a lot of laws, but no, the laws aren't being applied. No, they're not being enforced. No, no one gives a shred of a literal F. No, they're all just out there playing dumb and dumber while children suffer inside of the hotel. No less. In May last year, she was arrested and charged with perverting the court of justice. Perverting the court of justice is what in the hell the charge is for all of these people that don't have a law license, that don't have a shred of knowledge to sit there and data mine straight up illegal felonies with the questions that they're asking. Remember, you guys, this is not like Catholic confession where, everything's like, Heavenly Father, forgive me for I have sinned. I have, taken the innocence of someone innocent and I should have not been so innocent. And okay, well, just sing your Virgin Marys. Okay, bye. That's why the Catholic Church can get away with it, you guys, because they don't have a system of video recording, of canned list of questions that are incriminating, self-incriminating admissions of guilt already. Why are those admissions of guilt being provided? Because they're being given a safe haven. The predators get told, this is a safe space to discuss your felonies with us. Inside of this hotel. The government and the IRS thinks that this is a very great idea. So just help yourself. Two months ago, she was charged with another related offense. She was due to face court again next month. So, everything was supposedly going to be happening for one child to get a shred of justice. But then today, the Office of NSW, Director of Public Prosecutions, announced that they were withdrawing charges against Jan Eastgate, saying there was no reasonable prospect of a conviction. Prosecutorial, what is it called, you guys? Prosecutorial something. Like the prosecutors can just come up with whatever reason they just want to not prosecute. And then that's all it takes. So if Scientology has corrupt people in place, derailing justice at every opportunity, then guess what is going to happen? Carmen Renier, I was just shocked. I didn't even know what to think. I don't know what to say. I said nothing. I mean, I feel horrendous for her, you guys, because again, it's like, we never get a shred of justice. We never get taken seriously. All these grown-ass adults make it all about themselves and their big problems with David Miscavige beating them when they were 5 times his size. And yeah, let's blow an endless whistle while, again, the alarm, the code red is being literally pressed. Code red. Children are literally in danger as we speak here, literally. because again, it's like these people, they don't care. It didn't happen to them. It didn't happen to their kids, whatever. Like, whoever pays these prosecutors more, whoever has the back end ways to pervert justice is what actually rules. So all we get is nothing. Senator Xenophon went to the police station with Carmen to make a statement about this matter. Senator said, look, this is just an extraordinary turn of events. These matters are before the courts for a number of months. A second set of charges is laid just a few weeks ago, and then suddenly it's all abandoned. Carmen Rinder deserves an explanation from the DPP because she has been understandably left devastated by what has occurred. We were kids. We were abused. People were told about it, and everything was recorded. Everything was video recorded. There's ample evidence of the crime being covered up in their own literal receipts. That's why they cannot claim that they were not acting with impunity. If you're keeping receipts on how you're covering up a crime, Mike Rinder, guess what? You were acting with full impunity. Breaking news to you. Apparently, you're the last one to find out that if you were covering up a literal crime, if you were being told, if you were found to be asking that exact question in an interview question, and then you went around laundering it, and then you went around charging them money to make it all disappear, guess what? Where is your plausible deniability? Where is your arm's length that you want to have on everything, but yet you were at the epicenter of the cover-ups. You were the top dog of those operations. And if you had other handlers that were helping you with that, well, it's time for you to expose them. Who else was helping you cover it up, Mike Rinder? If you didn't do it alone, fine. Then start naming the names of who actually did help you. Who did you report to? Who did you orchestrate? Who did you conspire with? What are the names? Debbie Cook, Kathy True, Kristen Catano, Claire Headley, Warren McShane, Marty Rathbun, David Miscavige, Shelley Miscavige. Who was not in the know? That would be a much better question to ask you. Who was literally looped out? Out of all those top executives, who was looped out, Mike Rinder? Who was, don't tell that one. The Office of DPP would not give specific reasons as to why the charges were withdrawn. Well, you know what? The LAPD and the prosecutor's office here in Los Angeles, that just another child that was abused in horrific, disgusting ways, Miriam, that literally had her father admitting on the phone to what in the F he did. But better luck next lifetime to you too, Miriam, because what? The prosecutor's offices are pathetic. Beyond pathetic. Beyond unscrupulous. As if they're not sending the message, go and abuse more kids. We'll never catch up to y'all. Better luck next lifetime if you're a child in the US. Better luck next lifetime if you are a child in Australia. Both countries that want to have children abuse. Both countries that want to write a bunch of platitudes on a book. Okay, great. We're going to look great. Oh my God, that book looks so amazing. We're so lawful here in this country. We're all about the law and order. Yeah, sending the message to predators to continue, prey on kids. They're too stupid, gullible, and naive to figure it all out. So, who cares? The reason that she gave me, Carmen Rinder, the reason that she gave me the charges were that they were the wrong charges, and that was because they charged her with a new law instead of the old law. It happened in 1985. The law came in 1990. Carmen also says the BPS office told her that it didn't help her case that the NSW police could not find the police who took her original statement. So get literally raped as a child and, have some paperwork get lost. And then all of a sudden, you know what? It didn't help that all of those administrative errors happen. So next time, make sure that after you get raped, make sure that that if you file a report, make sure it doesn't get lost, because that's on you. In a statement released today, blah, 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 Jan Eastgate. I have always maintained my innocence, having been an exemplary career for more than 30 years dedicated to serving the community and families, as well as championing human rights. I mean, again, you guys, like, all they have to do is blab out platitudes and then everyone buys their BS. This outcome means I can concentrate on my work to assist people in need of help in both Australia and overseas through CCHR. When I read Jan Eastgate's statement to Carmen Rainier, she broke down. Carmen, I'm worried that now people are going to think that it is okay to tell children to lie to the police, that people can get away with SA and essaying children. Having survived SA, you don't give an F about having a case that won a shred of anything. The only thing you give a shred about is why the F is this still being done to other kids. Why did these MFers get away with it, doing it to me? And then why is everyone else getting away with it? That's what hurts. That's what pains us, as literally Carmen is saying here. The case getting closed, send a message, go and abuse more kids, Scientology. Australia is fully behind you. Go and say more kids, Scientology. The United States of America sanctions all of what you do inside of those disgusting hotels. It's not called false imprisonment. It's called a child is getting a religious session. It's not called kidnapping, even though your passport is locked up. It's called you signed up a billion-year contract as a child, because this country really does sit there and holds children accountable for contracts they signed as kids. Steve Canane, late line, my take. It's hard to believe that coaching an 11-year-old girl to lie to the police about being essayed was not a felony under Australian law. So the question I'd like to answer is why the DPP was unable to refile these charges after they discovered they had filed them incorrectly. It will be interesting to see if Xenophon or Canane or Seymour or Rainer herself can get an answer to that question. And then there was an update here. Perth attorney Grenane O'Donovan, she says she was interviewed by Canane at the time of the constraints kept her out of the piece. Here's what she just sent me. In 1985, it was a criminal offense in the New South Wales to conspire to pervert the courts of justice. That is the charge that should have been laid. The decision to lay charges under the 1990 statute was a fundamental mistake, one that might expect from a law student, but not from a practicing lawyer. Some months ago, Carmen was given a list of names and witnesses that the police could not locate. I spent less than half an hour with the aid of Google and white pages online and had one of those witnesses at the other end of the phone. I had another one within hours. I provided that information to the prosecution at the time. Naturally, that dented my confidence in the adequacy of the investigation. I mean, you guys, if the prosecutors are not in the pocket of Scientology, I would like to understand how that is. Because you know what? Again, trust patterns. In what world are all these prosecutors such namby-pamby Such pathetic, oh, it's very scary to do my job. Well, then stop being a prosecutor. Stop prosecuting. Stop pretending that you're going to advocate for kids that get locked up against their will, that have no shred of advocate inside of the hotel or on the outside of the hotel, even though these prosecutors are there to what? Enforce the laws. If they don't enforce the laws, then what are the laws but a bunch of platitudes written on a piece of paper so that everyone can think that we're living in a highly moral, ethical society where the law really does apply? Well, you know what? In America, it doesn't apply because modern child slavery was made great again thanks to the IRS. So imagine that. Imagine America, a country founded by slaves, a country that allegedly canceled it. Oh, yeah, we have a constitution here, guys. Oh, look, breaking news. We wrote it on a piece of paper. And then what? Then Mike Rinder, David Miscavige, and Marty Rathbun propped up what? L. Ron Hubbard out of the grave? And then all of a sudden, what? Slavery is legal again inside of disgusting hotels. Why is that the case? In the year 2024, why has nothing been done? Why is everything always derailed and perverted? So I think this was good to do a deep dive on this woman, you guys, because this Jan Eastgate, again, goes to show you the level and the extent that these countries are willing to go to cover up endorsing full-blown child trafficking of minors at an industrial size scale. Australia is just as complicit, is just as corrupt as if these people don't have a huge advanced organization in Australia where guess who is ending up inside those places? Minors, and more minors from other countries, because Australia also believes in importing slaves and calling it a religious, they're just going to go have a religious experience in there. Well, you know what? We weren't having religious experiences, turns out. In the aftermath of figuring out our life today, understanding what in the hell this is actually called, not the pitch from Mike Rinder, not the pitch from Debbie Cook, not the pitch from my own literal parents. None of these kids stand a chance. We just covered who? Elena Cardone's daughter, who you saw all the weird developmental things that if you don't know, you don't know. You know, like somebody commented on the video, like all positive comments in that interview being aired by Elena, by all these women who are goggling over Elena Cardone because that's their influencer of choice. And they're not able to see the absurdity of her 14-year-old child that is scared of people, that has a horrific superiority complex implanted there by her parents, that, you know, has to continuously walk back anything she says about her parents because she can't be critical of them. She always has to like, oh yeah, you know, you lecture me, but you know, not lecture me so much. Like, it's okay. It's fine, you know, and all those signs of abuse that we wouldn't have been able to spot it on ourselves back then, but today we do. We are checking those. So hence why Scientology is doing modeling courses. Get more minors in. Yeah, out of the org, out of the Valley org here in LA. You guys, I mean, children are always their go-to. I mean, children have been ensnared in Scientology since the very beginning of Scientology, as if Shelley Miscavige wasn't ensnared by L. Ron Hubbard, as if David literal Miscavige, 16-year-old child trafficked to L. Ron Hubbard, hand-delivered to him. Right. New tax exemption was granted in 93. Pro Hubbard Tech as a nonprofit. I'm so sorry for your pain. We are angry and for you. Thank you, Folly Beach, USA. You guys, in what world can people such as you, Mike Rinder, not be angry with yourself? You should really ask yourself that question. What type of drug do you use to numb yourself to not be angry? To just be angry at, David Miscavige, David Miscavige, David Miscavige. Be angry at your damn self. It's about time you get angry at yourself, at your stupidity, at your corruption, at the level of unthinkable lengths that you went to when you were stuck inside there. Running the operation is what the problem is with you, Mike Rinder, is what the problem is with you, Debbie Cook, is what the problem is with you, Marty Rathbun, and you, Shelly Miscavige, and you, and all of them. Because kids are literally being put in harm's way on a daily basis, with every Scientology parent just having no conscience in what in the hell they're doing. You guys, and it's called an era where it needs to end, and it cannot be cradled and canoodled anymore. They're not children. The adults are not children. They can't be told what in the hell they need to stop. And they need to stop being like, oh yeah, you poor thing, you were stuck in a cult. Yeah, it does suck to be you. No one's saying it doesn't suck to be you, but a child of SA and SOS, you are abused, you are blamed by COS and paid to fix it. Then the police attorneys get them by losing their paperwork. I mean, literally, Anne, I mean, can you imagine like the audacity of these people? Like any last technicality to, again, not pull strings. They're like allergic to pull strings. And again, strings need to be pulled. If strings don't get pulled, then what happens? And more kids get abused with full impunity, with everyone inside of the hotels full knowing. How to screw up the little sponge brain of a child. Exactly, Katie. And again, you guys, we were told that we didn't have brains. We were told that the brain was such a stupid part of our body. Like they're like, no, the brain is nothing, you guys. Like everything is your mind, your analytical mind, your reactive mind, all this disassociative language that literally made us like, go crazy. There should not be limitation status for crimes done to kids. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. And again, you guys, like, as a child, like, children aren't going to go to the police. We didn't understand we had to go to the police. We were scared of the police. We were scared of this whole entire thing that happened to us. We thought we were the ones with the problem. That's what was pitched to us ad nauseum since we were born. We had nothing else to compare our experience with. And that's what happened. That's why children are easy prey. That's why it takes decades for them to come forward. But, then it takes all these courts to literally just suppress that. And again, it's like the fact is that the other kids are getting abused. If they weren't, if all of this was already shut down, then there would be no reason to care, honestly, like literally. And it seems like they have so much money that Scientology can stop at anything that isn't going their way. I mean, that's literally what it's giving. You guys, like, how much undue influence have these people literally laid down? And all for what purpose? To protect their ability to have unfeathered access to children, abuse them, and then what? Float it? How does that work? How does that literally work? Seriously. One Love 51,000. Imagine if someone admits to the crime and the prosecutor gets paid off by COS and then drops the charge. Horrifying. I mean, literally. Yeah, prosecutorial discretion. But I mean, these people are so discreet. They're just discreetly opting out of anything that really helps children. I mean, how much more can we sound the alarm? How much more clear can we be? I mean, imagine, you guys, the utter helplessness that we feel today as we know that all these crimes continue to be literally swept under a rug, knowing full well that everything we experience as kids just gets done to more kids and nothing can be done about it. So imagine the type of hope we had when we were stuck in there, when nobody was even bringing it up. How many decades has it taken for kids that grew up in this disgusting environment to be able to even have a platform, to be able to have a community of people, all of you guys that join us in these lives because you are committed to learning as advocates of kids what in the literal hell is going on. And it is going to take an army of advocates to say, no, this is unacceptable. It's already in the law. Miss us, we need to write another law. We don't give an F about the law. There's already enough laws. Apply them. False imprisonment is a felony, a serious one. Apply that literal law. Why are kids ending up in hotel rooms where adults can pay to have 12.5-hour blocks with a child? What type of business model is anyone really running with offering children to adults on 12.5-hour blocks? I mean, just let that really sink in for a second. Like, imagine you can go to a hotel in Florida and go, here's my $100,000. I just talked to Amex. They're very happy to fund my next $100,000 donation. The IRS is very happy to take it off my taxes. And yes, let me now go talk to Natalie Galbiati because I just paid for, 150 hours that child's not going to owe that adult. Oh, they can't say no. They can't say, I don't want to do that. They cannot say nothing. They have to just do it. You have to do it. Whatever that guy does, whatever that guy says inside that hotel, doesn't matter. The child is now the person that gets told, you are their auditor. You have to take responsibility for that man. You have to make sure that he doesn't have any withholds from you. If he hides that he masturbated thinking about you 2 weeks ago and he jacked off to it and then didn't tell you about it, then they're going to have your head as the child. What type of nonprofit puts the head of a child on a pike because a sick pervert adult decided to buy time with them and then decided to hide it from them that they were thinking about masturbating to them, and then that child ends up in trouble, in severe ethics trouble, you guys. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard says that, if you miss a withhold, you literally couldn't have done something more horrible. So that's literally what we need to call out. Private property, assisted living, and private property religion protected completely. Yeah. Laws can't be applied under private property. Well, that's not true, Little Green, because, Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke had a private property where they were committing aggravated child abuse, and the laws did apply. I mean, never mind that it took, years, never mind that it took a literal child to leave with wounds that no one could ignore anymore. And okay, well, let's really apply the justice here to really show that we really do it. So yeah, private property still has to apply laws, and especially, of course they can hide it all. And I think that's kind of what your point is, which I agree with you. The private properties are acquired with the purpose of hiding what they're going to be doing in said private properties. In the case of Scientology, that's what they're doing. Nebulous 111. They have so much money, they have to become poor. Well, yeah, Nebulous, but you know what? Who else had a lot of money? Jeffrey Epstein. Who else has a lot of money? Weinstein. Who else had a lot of money? P. Diddy. Who else had a lot of money? The Nickelodeon. Who else had a lot of money? The people from the troubled teen industry that are a $1 billion industry. All these $1 billion industries can operate with full impunity with their billions because there's a separate set of laws that apply to billionaires. It's what this is all really giving at the end of the day. Why did all these people not have a shred of law applied to them? Is it they all share a billionaire account status? But even Epstein, once people understand that you are abusing kids at industrial size scales, your money is good for nothing. But how many years has it been all covered up by Mike Rinder, by the likes of Mike Rinder, by the likes of Marty Rathman, by the likes of all Scientology parents who child traffic their kids and are nowhere on the public record raising an alarm over the systemic institutionalized practice that they all normalize as an adult collective be done to children. So everyone can get away with it as long as no one is to be found to have a shred of accountability, and that's why it's important that we are calling that out. And literally, that's why we said today, right here, accountability is not just about owning up to mistakes. It's about wielding the power of truth to light the path to justice. Wielding the power of truth to light the path to justice. That's what accountability is all about. That's why we need it. Because so far, there is no road to justice for any Scientology kids. Right now, all we have is degenerate adults that were goo-goo gaga for a convicted felon that decided as a group collective of Scientology parents and Scientology executives that they were going to save a world by enslaving and abusing kids in unthinkable ways. So if they're unwilling to call themselves out, I guess they're expecting better luck next lifetime to all the kids stuck currently inside these hotels. And you know what? It's not acceptable. The kids that went through this, it's not acceptable. All of you in our community find it highly unacceptable. So there's plenty of people that already agree that it is absolutely unthinkable and unacceptable to abuse kids, to exploit their gullibility, their naivete with BS pitches from a convicted felon. So, yeah, Mike Rinder, why are the pitches of a convicted felon being pitched as a wonderful, amazing technology that is going to be so groundbreaking that all of a sudden all self-admitted felons end up with a so-called floating needle away from law reach? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Hello, Ursula. CMBR, there's a huge difference between breeders and parents. Thank you, CMBR. Very good point. I mean, we are being bred as pawns in a scheme, you guys. And no, it's not acceptable. No kid should be ensnared in such thing. We saw that how it's working out for Elena Cardone's daughter. She's going to have to wake up one day and realize that both her dad and her mom are full of it. You don't want to have to literally wake up to that reality. As a child, it is unthinkable when you wake up and you realize that they were lying to you the entire time. Everything in your entire life was a lie. What type of person wants to see other people go through that over and over and over again? So I thank you guys all for watching. We're going to be covering the second part of this video coming up. I just want to make sure that we're not having any echoes because, yeah, we have to get into the denial of Mike Rinder and how he, is going to say that he had no idea about anything going on in Australia and he couldn't be more clueless. So, no. All of these things need to be exposed. All of these things need to be talked about. All of these things need to come to the surface, and accountability and the power of truth needs to be wielded because justice needs to be applied so that other children aren't becoming ensnared in the grips of people that run these hotels. I thank you guys all so much for watching and supporting us today, and I will see you all really soon. Bye-bye.